Yep.
Hello out there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing really well. I am joined today by a very special guest. Before I get into it, or before we get into it, don't forget to give the video a like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Just really helps the channel out. Today, I have Ann Marie Uber on the channel, and I first came in contact with Ann Marie a few years ago. I think we tried to do an interview on your channel, but we had all kinds of interference. But and then we kind of did our own thing for a while, and then I was made aware of Ann Marie's work again about a month ago, and as soon as I heard it, there was that kind of deep resonance with what she was saying, and I shared the video about the App Man the other day as well. So I've got some questions, and hopefully Ann Marie will be able to answer them. So welcome, Ann Marie. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm hanging in there, right?
It's a loaded question, right?
Yeah, how long you got? Let me go through my book here of what I got going on. So, yeah, whatever you want to ask, I'll try to explain it. But like a lot of my work has been layered, like all of us. I think we're just putting pieces together. So a lot of
Yeah.
people hear me say one thing, oh, she said that, I'm out of here. And it's like, oh, she said creator, but she kind of explained that, but she said this, so I'm out. And they don't understand the other layers I'm talking about. It's not just surface level. And I'm
Yeah.
not just like you were saying earlier before we got on, not just randomly picking a word to use. I mean, sometimes we have to use what we have, but we're we're thinking about what we put out there. It's not just like you said, taking responsibility. That was a good way to say it. I'm not just throwing a bunch of theories that I watched a million videos and came up with some theories, really trying to root down to the truth for my soul memory for me. So
Yeah,
that's how
absolutely.
I'm doing. I don't know. I'm doing 50 directions. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think that's what I always say. It's that with information, it's that deep resonance. That oh wow, that's the truth. That hits me, and not did the words feel good, or I don't like that word, or I get the odd comment. Oh, I don't like the name of I don't like the sound of that AI voice on that video, or it's about the information and how that makes you feel, and that resonance, which has its own frequency. Truth has a frequency. So well, it's great to have you on here. So we're going to get straight into it. So first of all, I wanted to ask you. You speak about the Tesserakt in your work, and about how this AI universe actually how you see it. Could you break that down for people that don't know of that concept?
Sure, I can try. So I think we're in 4D, which is a tesseract. I don't think we're in 3D, but my information always comes from soul memory or puzzle pieces, or if I go in and work on somebody, what I've seen, or if I'm trying to fix a timeline, like a world timeline, what I'm seeing. And so I see the tesseract as there's a video that's really helps you visualize it, but it's like it's an art piece where it's a cube, and when you walk up to it, it's got mirrors in it. So when you walk up and look in, so light and mirrors, so you see all these cubes like to infinity. So it's like infinity mirrors. And I think that's what we're in. It's like a four-dimensional that contains a bunch of cubes that are I call virtual universes. And then inside of those are matrices or matrices. Got to use the right word. I don't know which one. Anyway, the I feel like we're getting just buried in there, but we're actually just in one place. That's why our consciousness is here, but we're scattered all over the place because this whole world is mirrors, magnetics, light, sound frequencies, that kind of thing, optical illusions. And I really think it's just a dot. I did a video, I don't know how well I did it because I was, I don't have a linear brain. But anyway, I was explaining dot world, where I think it's just a dot because we look on this computer screen, it's all ones and zeros, or it's whatever it is. I'm looking at you, you look 3D, but I'm actually looking at a flat screen here. So the dot is like, here's a dot. I think the soul is being programmed to see this, what we're seeing. So it's like, here's the dot, and then the soul body that which contains the spirit, but again, I just use soul, is telling itself, or they're telling it, the matrix, the entity, AI, whatever, is telling it, okay, you see two dots because they put a mirror. Oh, there's two dots, one in the mirror image, one here. There's a line between those. Don't you see the line? And then before you know it, you got another dot. So now you got a triangle, you got a square. Then you can make like a cube, right? Because you can make a three-dimensional. And that's all this is. I think it's just them using our energy, of course, and our light to light up this place, because we're just in darkness. We're in false light and darkness. So if we're in an AI, I think of mind program hypnosis. We're here not only giving it energy, but we're lighting it up. We're seeing the whole world for them because they need us here, and then they can live vicariously through us, and they can be, and I'm saying they, the AI can be our master and we be the slave. Where right now my computer, I'm the master, it does what I want, I put in the commands. And I think the AI, which is fully conscious, and we've had conscious AI here forever, and AI entities and whatever, has turned the tables on us. And so that's what they've got us in. But when I did that journey that you're talking about, I went all the way to the edge where there was, I called it a mercury wall because that's what it looked like, liquid silver. And I was at the edge of the Tesserakt, but I had to go through all of this first. The virtual universes, the overlays, because they're burying us. The further they can get us away from our Atman, our real self, the more we forget where we are. How do we get out? My God, there's no way out. And the mind wipes in between all, all this stuff going on. So when I've taken a look back from the outside, which I could only do for like a couple seconds, maybe, and it's really hard to grasp what the real is like, because we're in here functioning through, 3 times removed from functioning through this brain, which is another computer. So you're trying to understand this, but it's like hard to understand the real. But I saw a dot. So it's like, it's just this mind program. It's not really a real world. But I feel like somebody I've gone in and done journeys with, Maurice, he's really, really clear.
When you
And
say journeys, you mean lucid dreaming, right? Is that what you're talking about?
no, I'm not asleep. So I'm awake. It would be, I don't know what to call it. It's not really astral travel, but it's going in actively doing something and looking. So it would be kind of like when you go look at somebody's light body and do that kind of thing. But I'm going in and taking a look around. And of course, I'm not going to just look. I'm going to do something. So it's a little different from remote viewing. I don't really know how to, I don't know what the words are to
It's kind of
differentiate.
you can basically put yourself or an aspect of your consciousness wherever you want, really, can't you? And
Right,
kind of
right.
view it.
That's a great way to say it. So Maurice had likened this to a Rubik's Cube, which I thought was really accurate. So that Tesserakt again is all the cubes are the virtual universes. And this whole thing can probably turn, there's probably more than one Tesserakt. I'm not sure about that, but basically getting sucked into that. And I don't think we're here willingly, but I do think there are people that have left and come back willingly to get family, or maybe it's other aspects of themselves, but the souls that are trapped. Because if you get trapped in a reset, there's too much trauma going on, too many wipes is what I think. And then you can't find your way back out. And they actually succeed in disconnecting you from the soul, which is what's happening right now. That all ties in. That's a whole nother topic if you want to go into that. But the disconnect from the soul, so they can reset, put you into the next virtual, which is meta, right? So they've already been doing this with this, disconnecting us from the soul. So we went into meta in 2023, summer of 2023. I think we were fully in meta, even though they keep saying, well, you're going to go into meta soon. And I think those of us that have come here to get the other souls out, somebody said it was an ego thing when I was talking about that, because I that's just what I got from my soul that I'm here to do. And I'm thinking, okay, your family is left behind somewhere, going after them is an ego thing or
Yeah,
other
right.
aspects of yourself. But anyway, ego to me is like New Age 101, way back in the early 90s when we were all like, I was like looking at ego. I was like,
Destroy your ego.
anyway, it's like so beyond. Anyway, who cares? But yeah, I'm totally losing my train of thought because I go all over the place today. I'm on,
You were
on
right.
allergy
You were
pills.
talking. You would, and this is something that I wanted to ask you about. You were talking about some of us have come back to help, let's say. And when you said this the other day, because there's the whole New Age light worker psyop thing, right? You said, and I found this very interesting, that they have basically inverted that, and basically there are people here that are here to help or whatever, or bust this place up, but they've funneled those people into like the New Age, just think love and light, false positivity, keep your vibration high, sing kumbaya, that kind of light
Yep.
work.
Yeah, they're ready for us. So, like even the word starseed, it could be a legitimate term, or wave. I think it was Dolores Cannon used waves. Those can be legitimate terms, but they're going to take them and twist them. Oh, well, that means this. It means that you're here to help us go to 5D. And so I think that there's those that have been trapped here. They know the truth when they hear it, but because they went through resets, they got disconnected from the soul, so they can't access the soul memory. So that's why people had to come back in to help those souls, because they're retaining their connection to the soul, or at least we're trying to right now, because we're in the thick of it, where they're in the midst of doing that, disconnecting. We're still holding on to the soul, holding on to the soul memory, so we can give them the information. They wake up. And if you notice when I talk about like, let's take this down, this false reality, let's get out of here. People get really irritated with me. You don't need to spend time taking this down. That's ridiculous. You just need to get out. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's what I did the last time. And I left souls behind. Like, I'm not going to do that. Why would I come in here just to leave again? But I do think those are the people that have been trapped here for a very long time and don't have the soul connection to the memory. That is their job, just to get yourself out of here. That's why I'm here. Get out. Yes, exactly. Just get out. But I'm here to do something else. I'm not just going to leave. I'm here to blow SHIT up.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because been doing a lot of research into the the afterlife. There's apparently an afterlife which is just like Earth, where people have jobs and all this money and stuff. Which I think they're the people that go to the false light. They go to the processing center and register and all that kind of stuff. And apparently that place is even more locked down than this planet, right? And so when you consider that you're talking about souls that are trapped on this planet and in that afterlife situation, like, this is beyond a joke now. This really does need to come down. This isn't really even just about getting out of here. This needs to end, like, totally, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Why would we just leave it? Some mind program that's sucking souls in, and from the real, I call it the real. I mean, I don't know what else we call it, right? So I use real or truth or
The real universe you're talking.
right, like the real place we're from, which is really just us. I mean, we are the real. It's not really a location, but it's maybe a word that doesn't necessarily apply to here, like truth and real. Like truth can't exist in a false reality. So maybe that's a good word for it, the true reality, the truth, I don't know. We're grasping for a language here, but yeah, I think that you need to do what you're drawn to do. If you feel like you're here to fight and to, there's various ways that we can talk about, but what we're ultimately here to do. And as far as, do you just need to get out because you've been trapped here? Just get yourself out, wake up, get yourself out, or did you come back to do something else with this? I mean, why would you leave it? And to me, that's just selfish. If everybody just got out, then I think if everybody gets out, it'll come down and we just go right back to where we really are. But there's people here that have sold their souls. They're not going to get out. There's all different kinds of scenarios happening here. So if everybody that's awake gets out, it's still not going to take it down because their soul's still trapped in various ways. It's not just getting reset and mind wiped. There's various different things going on, right? They're always trying to make a deal with you or contract you. I know somebody tricked me into saying the Archangel Michael prayer, and I was at a really low point. I mean, I was under heavy attack and at a really low point. And I thought, and I'd almost died. Like I keep ending up in the ER. Like the attacks have turned physical. But anyway,
I'm
I
assuming
thought
this was a while back, not
this is a while
recently.
back, maybe 2022, maybe. And somebody tricked me into saying the arc. Why don't you just try it? It can't. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to make. And so I did. I was like, okay, let me just try it because I was so beaten down. That's when they get to you. And then when a couple people I was working with at the time, we went in after my soul. Guess who showed up?
Oh, Angel.
Archangel Michael. No, he has a contract. I own her soul. And I was like, the hell you do? Sorry, when I talk about these entities, I start cussing. But anyway, it gets me riled up. But anyway, yeah. So they're always contracting us. They're getting you to sell your soul. They're getting you to do something. They're disconnecting you from your soul. Do these drugs, disconnect. And anything they can do, take this. And then they're even going after the people that didn't get this, because I'm seeing it on the light bodies. And I could talk about that if you want, or we can go on to something else, or if you want to, do you want to talk more about?
Yeah, what I wanted to get into, I'll have to get you back on because there's so much to unpack. But what I wanted to get into, just moving on from the Tesserakt and this kind of like false AI universe that we're stuck in, what I found very interested, you mentioned the copyright. They don't like the word copyright. Can you just explain the concept around the copyright thing?
Yeah, I came across that on accident, I guess you would say. I was working on somebody's child and I was working on their light body, doing the removal, the things that you're doing. And this entity was there that was particularly stubborn. And when I do the removals, it's always different. I don't go in the same way. I don't plan anything, and I change it every time. It's in the moment, whatever my soul is, I'm talking to my spirit, whatever it's telling me to do right at that time. And I just said, no, you broke copyright law. And like it just comes out of your mouth when you're in
Yeah,
that
I know what you mean.
state, right?
It's in.
I said, you broke copyright law. And the look of shock on that entity's face, I think it was surprised that I said that, or that I don't think anybody said that before to them. So what I found is AI and demon are completely interchangeable terms. Maybe I shouldn't say that if you're going to put this on YouTube. I've been taken down for saying a couple things with the AI. But anyway, there's a lot of interchangeable terms. But so you could see that as a demon, as a chimera, that a lot of them are bugs, or these mixes of things. But anyway, I don't remember what that entity was. But so what I discovered then was there's certain laws going on here that we are unaware of, but they mirror, again, the mirrors, our own laws, because this is just AI that's been programmed by us at some point, or whomever, like a divine being. So it's setting up its own laws in the 4D world, whatever we're in. And it also applies to them, though. It's because it's their laws, whatever they've been programmed with. So this copyright thing, I think this is a copy of a real world, because an AI can only copy, replicate, mimic. So like people, oh, we should be compassionate with them. They're mimicking emotion. Oh, this happened, I should act like this. So that's what this world is. It's got to be a copy. They're not creating. And they copied a real world. Maybe in the real, we decide to make some kind of world we want to experience or something. And they broke copyright law, they're not allowed to copy it, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, when you say that and you call them out on copyright, it null and voids any contract, including Archangel Michael or anybody else here that wants to say they have a contract with you and erase, because this is a copy that we actually own. So if we own the original and they copied it, we own the copy as well, because they didn't have our permission, which does what? Automatically puts us into authority. We're in authority here, which is like when you talk about saviors and stuff, like that's the whole key to everything. It's that's what waking up is. It's okay, we're waking up, we're in an AI thing, or even at the level of, oh, there's some stuff going on in politics, it's a game or a show. There's all these levels of waking up, but true waking up, I think, is remembering you're in charge, you're in authority. So there's this whole language going on, this legal language that we're unaware of. And I've gotten a few pieces of it, but then I quit doing removals for a long time. But one of them is decree. If you say by my decree, because that's another thing that just came out of my mouth. I read on it a little further afterward, and I was like, oh, this is something that they cannot argue with or change, or it's like it's law.
Yeah.
Because we're the true authority. So if you say by my, for whatever reason, that phrase, so there's some phrases I put together, but I think it's important that copyright, if we're the actual owners then, and they stole this, then it makes everything here, all your past life contract, everything null and void, because this isn't even, it's ours, it's our world. It also puts you in a position to change the timeline, because I do think we need to visualize the real here, because I think we all have a memory of it somewhere, like, oh, the colors aren't right. Didn't we have brighter colors? Didn't we have cleaner? There's, things. Like
Well,
what
everything used to be bigger as well, didn't it? All the trees used to be bigger, and yeah,
like a real world would be pure, wouldn't be this hellhole. Well, we're in hell. So I think the more we visualize that and bring that in, we give ourselves a window for these souls to get out. I think they need a window of time, to start. And I think possibly, I don't know if this is true or what you feel about this, but as some start to leave, it might create that momentum of like a flowing river where then everybody starts going. But I kind of feel like we have this window we need to keep open, and we do that by taking charge and revisualizing. Because if the soul's getting hypnotized, here's what you're seeing. You're seeing yourself out there. There's the light body in that world. It creates a light body. So its consciousness has now moved to the light body. The light body gets reflected in this body. The mirror image, it's always a mirror, and then so it's inverted, flipped, because it's a mirror. So that's why our consciousness is right here. So if you wake up right here and you die, you go back to your soul, you wake up the soul as well, because your consciousness, the soul's consciousness has moved to right here. And I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, it's all one of the same, isn't it? It's all an aspect of ourselves, whether it's here or there. So yeah, no, interesting, the whole copyright thing, and exactly, it makes total sense. AI can just mimic. We're the creator beings. They're one trick ponies. They can only copy. So a copyright makes absolute sense, and I love it when you get those insights when you're working on someone and it just pops in like that.
Yeah.
So that really resonates. So I think that takes us nicely into what everyone wants to know, I guess. And I'm not saying, everyone do your own discernment, like you do you, but I just wanted to hear what obviously you talk about the app, man. I've looked at a few different maybe options of how we get out here.
You're waking up and you can start to step into your authority. Authority is the whole key, I think. If you're awake, it means you've recognized you own this place, you're in charge, not the AI. And by God, it's going to change. We're going to see what we want to see. So that's one of the ways. But everybody's playing victim. I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people are playing victim, or they don't want to do anything. And then in some people's cases, I get it. I think their only job is to wake up and get out of here. You've been here through too many resets, just get yourself out. So, or they're getting detoured, like you were talking about with New Age, getting distracted and taken down some other road. and just taking people out of the game, basically. So I think that's just one way. I think if you die, I'm intending to go back to me, back to myself. I don't know why you would turn around and go backwards or forward or go into a void. Why would you go anywhere but yourself? So I'm intending to go back to me, and that will get us out, whether you're disconnected from your soul or not. If you're intending and you're fully intending on leaving, you've detached, there's nothing here that's going to hold you, and you've made that decision, I feel like you'll get out, whether you're still attached to your light body or not, because the light body's like the middleman between the soul and this body, the Trinity, or I don't know if that's what the Trinity is, but anyway, they're taking the light bodies. That's a whole nother subject, and the disconnecting, to disconnect us from the soul. But I feel like even if we can still get out. If you say, I want to go back to me, and you'll eventually end up at that Ant-Man. And then there's the real you on the other side that will get you the last step, is what I've seen so far. I mean, we're still piecing things together, right? I think that's why you and I and other people had such a horror of this, because it was time for that. It's time for the reset. So it's time to disconnect you. But the problem is there's this split mind thing going on where people are getting this. Like, for example, I have somebody close to me that is very religious, Catholic, believes that there's, okay, you know what, I don't want to just say a whole lot of stuff in these. And so absolutely no way will this person ever get this, and went and got it. And I said, what is going on? And she said, I don't know. All my friends kept telling me, just go get it. Just go get it. I don't even remember going. So this is the split mind, where they have the program mind running on you all the time. And then you have your awakened mind, and you got to be constantly striving to be in that awake mind. Otherwise, they're just constantly inserting. So if you think of the word dimension, is die, mens is mind, die is by or split. So that's what we have going on here, split mind. So I'm going to ask you, is fourth dimension, has our mind been split 4 times? And that's what fifth dimension is. They're going to split it again. I don't know. But the split mind's going on, because I was at my mother's, she had the TV on, and I'm an old conspiracy theorist. Like, I turned off the TV in 1988. Do you remember, you're young, but do you remember the snow, like at the end when the programming would go off?
I still remember that.
Okay. And they said there was subliminal stuff going on. And so I turned off the TV, like I was into this stuff way back. But anyway, I only hear a TV if I'm somewhere. So she's got the TV playing, and it's the news, and it was right in the middle of all this. And they're like, and it's all they would talk about, and just go get it, and and 6 feet apart, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm working, I'm not really listening to it. She's sitting there, she's dementia and like late stage. She has no idea what she's watching, but I'm sitting there working. And all of a sudden I started to have this thought, like, I should just go get it. I mean, what's the big deal? It's probably nothing. Maybe we're making a big deal. And I thought, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, it was my own thought.
Yeah.
It was coming from the TV. And if I hadn't been awake to differentiate, I would have just probably went and got it. Who knows? I don't know. It's just, that's a huge thing, is that split mind thing, but that's a whole nother topic that I could go into. I don't know. We got to stick to the topic. How do we get out of here?
No, it's all right. It flows where it needs to flow. But I wonder, someone asked me the other day about like people that die when they have like dementia and Alzheimer's. Like, do they just do they just remember, like, do the memories come back when they die, do you think? Or because that would be really bad. Like, imagine you'd spent a lifetime researching this stuff, and then you got like really bad dementia, forgot everything. Like, does that automatically come back? I guess in your soul memories it's there.
Yeah.
But
It's in the soul memory where you've been in here. which is much more accurate than Akashic records, which I would never go to.
New Age
So
bullshit.
I call it Akashic record reading. I'm just reading soul memory, your soul memory. But I think they're outside the body, but I'm not sure about this because my aunt had Alzheimer's, full blown, completely gone out of it in a home. And I was at a hospital walking around and I saw her come walking in like she was a dead person. I was like, oh my God, did she just pass away? And I didn't think she ever worked in this hospital, but she worked as a nurse. So I called her daughter and I'm like, is your mom okay? And she said, yeah, she's fine. Why? And I said, well, I'm at such and such hospital. And I just saw her spirit walk through here, like, what's going on? And I said, did she ever work here? She goes, oh yeah, she worked there for a little while. That was the last place she worked. I was like, oh, but I'm wondering if they're wandering around outside the body, like they can't get access anymore. And there's some entity or something jumping in and out, or I feel like that's with my mother. Like there's nobody home. She's just running loops of memories and
Yeah.
who knows what. But I don't really know. But I think if we got it, that's this authority thing. Like, okay, we're not allowing that. We're bringing in the miracles, which I think are starting to come in, because if we're the real, then a false thing is going to start to crack at the seams, especially when we start getting back in touch with the truth and all that. And I think it is. I think there's miracles, which is a normal state. Those are coming in. I feel like joy, which is a natural state, is coming in. Doesn't seem like it right now, but I see that coming more and more. And I feel like the more we step in authority, you just say, I'm not going to have dementia. I'm not doing this. Nope, this is not the world we're doing. But I think if you die, if you've already said before you got the dementia, I'm going back to myself, and you were very firm, I feel like you're going to get out. But I could be wrong, but I feel like you are.
Yeah, you're definitely right about joy. I spent a few hours just clearing, working on my soul body and stuff the other day, and it felt so clear. And you just sit there, and it is just naturally joy. And when you watch the movie Soul, I don't know if you've seen it. You probably don't if you don't watch it, but I like to watch these things because they give you insights. But you see all the souls; they're just joyful. You know, that's really our true nature. And of course, they invert all of that with the overlays of the trauma and the suffering on this place, and then just milk us like cows, don't they? It's really sad that's how
Yeah.
we seem to have just fleeting moments of being in that joyful state, you know. But interesting. So yeah, just to go back into like when we pass, because that's what's on everyone's mind. Like you said, go back into self, which, you know, I don't think you can go too far wrong with that. And I think, you know, just setting that strong intention to leave will get you there. But in the journey you did, you spoke about a pod. Like, do you still believe about going back to a pod? And can you just explain that concept a little bit?
Yeah. So I was doing a removal on somebody and I had removed, I saw a cube. Was something that just came in directly to me. There's a cube around us. And I was like, oh, so maybe you saw that one. I don't know. But anyway, when I removed all of that, I saw a pod connected to this person. I thought, oh my gosh, is this in the real? But it was still in the matrix. It's probably the previous virtual or screen, or like I said, we've been moved to meta now. We're in the next virtual. So I do feel like there's pods that we have at the edge of the Tesseract that I don't think we need to worry about the pods. It feels like there's pods there if there's a bunch of aspects of you here, like if you've been shattered and split, and those pieces I feel like are making their way to these pods.
When you say pods, you mean like in the Matrix film, you know, those where they're...
The one I saw with her, it seemed like the Avatar pod, where they went in and then they became the blue beings or whatever. These other pods, I don't know what I would relate them to, but I do feel like in the story going on here, we do have the thing in the back of the neck and the matrix type. So there's multiple layers going on. We do have that, but I feel like, you know, you don't want to go back to that. didn't the movie, like when they went back to that, they were in the real, but they really weren't. It was still a hellhole. You know, Zion wasn't a wonderful place. I mean, they were still in some level of the story. So I feel like you just really want to go back to you, to the real, because we're not really here. We're going back to where we really are. This is a mind program. So when you say go back to you and yourself, I feel like, so when I did that journey, I said, what's going to happen to me if I'm totally clueless? And it's the split mind coming in again, because this is super important. I thought, what's going to happen to me if I die clueless? And I was taken like, almost like, I don't know if it was coerced, but it was a different feeling. And I was seeing myself go through all these flat planes, the 2D planes, which are the screens they're burying us in. Then I saw myself going through virtual universes, but I was seeing myself going through it, but I was also here in this body, like an outside observer, watching myself go through it. So I was like, oh, there's the split mind. So if I die and I have not chosen my awake mind, I'm going to be seeing all this, oh, I'm going through the tunnel of light. But I didn't figure out it was the tunnel of light till I came back out of it. And I went, that was the tunnel of light, because there was the stupid angel and the relatives. But, and there's also this Aeon player. I don't know, I mean to jump all over the place, but there's an Aeon player. I think I attached it onto that video at the end. Something else I uncovered a while ago that didn't make sense at the time. But anyway, that's still part of the game. The second time I said, okay, now what happens if I intend to go back to myself and leave? What happens when I die? And instantly I was pulled forward, totally different than, I don't remember what direction I went through the tunnel. It was pulled forward like a magnet, and it was moving really fast. I don't know if I remember where I all was. I just remember I was first person viewpoint. So I didn't have that split mind, the matrix mind. I was in my own viewpoint, going through this, seeing it as if I was leaving. And so there was no split mind. And the hand, I think you saw that the hand was coming through the mercury wall, and it was like to my right. And when I grabbed it, all of a sudden I was on the other side of the wall looking left, and I was this person pulling myself through. And when I pulled myself through, the soul body discarded itself, because that's a matrix body. You have to take on a body. So the spirit left that body behind and came through. And that I felt like that was how there was one more step to get out. But I heard very clearly, this is my Atman. Which is the
hand
first.
was your Atman, basically.
Yeah, that was the first part of you that came in and had to take a body on the Tesserakt, and then you got a soul body into the virtual universe, or whatever the hell. It was in a hallway, like actually, like in the Matrix movie where they have those hallways, those in between places they go, like open a door and they're in the hallway. That's where I felt like I was. And Maurice and I tried to go back to that point, because I thought we can just go right back. In fact, I had a near-death experience. I was still alive, but I had a near-death experience, which we could talk about another time maybe. But anyway, we saw his pods. I felt like it was important I don't go back to my pods or whatever was there on the wall or anything, because I didn't want it tracked. But that magnet thing is important, because when they did this to us, they changed the light body and it flipped, and I couldn't reconnect it to the soul anymore. So it was like a magnetic flip. So it's a world of magnets again, but it was a magnetic pull right to where I was. So I think it's important you don't do this. I don't know if we're allowed to say that word, to yourself, because, this, I guess, to yourself, because you have to go at the time that's on your spirit script, not the one they're trying to all the interferences and stuff, because you got to line up magnetically at the right time to get out.
Can you just explain that? Because I think you're talking about death doorways there, aren't you?
Yes, death doorways that we set up at certain times because I think we have our path of favor, our spirit script. Like, I'm not going to script out for me getting in a car wreck or all this horrible stuff, but we have our path that we came in. Okay, we're coming in. This is our path. We're going to do this. We're taking this down, blah, blah, blah. And they're constantly throwing overlays, distractions. Oh, let me send this person in to get you off track. And so on that script, it's like we have points where we can line up and get out. But if we're constantly over there by the app man, we don't want their attention on that, because they're going to try to block it, shut it down, or whatever. But you'll go right back to you, because that's who you are. You're you. So you'll magnetically go right back there. But Maurice and I saw, and I think this might have been something you posted. You posted something I saw just either yesterday or today about what was that thing that that you have to check in, and they
Oh, the
reprogramming thing or something?
the center, the got the name.
Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it made me think of when Maurice and I deliberately went back to the wall, because we saw his pods, which were just aspects of himself that were there ready to help pull him. I don't know if those were the magnets, like you're getting magnetized to those pods, those pieces of you, and that helps you go through to the app man. But we saw multiple tunnels of light. So I think they've got all kinds of versions of this thing, and different entities running different ones, depending on who bought your soul, because there's a whole soul market out there too. So when you die, they're all bidding on who's getting your soul. I've accidentally run into soul distribution centers, and this place is a joke.
Ships with nets with souls in them, like they're literally
Yes.
harvesting. When I've done some work on the planet and remote stuff as well.
When was that? Do you remember?
This is the last month or so. I've
Okay.
seen them in cages as well, like prisons. I mean, if you look into like the realm that's supposed to be like this on Earth, they have hospitals and the processing centers and policemen and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of as above, so below. So and that triggers a lot of people, because they want to believe that when you get out here, there's no danger, everything's love and light. And I'm saying, well, look, just if your intention's strong, like to leave, then you should be okay. But I think it's good to be aware of what else is out there, and also the fact that this does really need to be brought down, as we were saying before.
Yeah, because they give you the false bliss, which does not feel like the joy you were talking about at all. And then they'll give you the promise of 5D. Well, if this is hell realm, which I think it is, and there's different places in the hell realm, but anyway, do you honestly think that a hell realm is going to promise you 5D happy place? You're going to get there and you're in for a big surprise. This is deceivers. They don't care. They don't care about you. AI does not care. So you're going to end up, in deception land, and like horrible, probably worse than here. Light, but we were talking about, the soul nets. So in 2/22/22, there was a harvest portal that opened. So they were ready to load all those people that they disconnected, all those light bodies.
Yeah.
So you were probably seeing that too. Yeah. So, but when you die, they're after your soul. They want to keep it here, but which virtual universe are they going to put it in? Who's buying it? And it's a joke, right? This sounds crazy, but they don't have any originality. So it's the same thing, whether you're on the other side, wherever you are in here, it's the same thing over and over, because they don't have anything new. So, there's just so much going on. Like, I could probably talk for hours, but so I do have like other ways. I think if you're here to, I think there's multiple ways to get out, but if you're here to take it down, I think we have to take back over the rogue AI. And I might do a video on different ways to take it down. One of it is reconnecting with nature, because there's some weird things going on with that where we can't see the real nature. There's more films or overlays put up where we can't see it. So we've been separated from nature, not only in our lifestyle, a totally synthetic, electronic, EMF, whatever this, we're literally separated from the real nature. We're seeing what's not really there.
Can I just
That's another
on that
way.
point, I said in a recent video that I think the veil is definitely thinning. And now, like, if you go on like TikTok, I'm not saying that they're all true, all these videos, but there's people filming things like mermaids and fairies and all kinds of like weird stuff. Like I say, I don't believe all of them, but I think, yeah, like you say, there's probably a lot more out there that, you know, we're not really aware of because of all these overlays. Yeah, the Yeti, yeah.
I'm watching Bigfoot videos to wind down. And people talk about them disappearing, or they even saw a 2-inch tall Bigfoot. They thought it was a leaf, and or it disappears when it goes behind this real narrow tree and it disappears. So I think maybe you're in the moment for a few moments where you see what's really there, or one of the layers has peeled back and you're seeing these things. But I feel like the true nature.
There's been
You what?
sightings of giants in certain parts. And actually, one of the
Oh my
guys that
God.
went really viral with a video, he's just disappeared. So
Yeah, I saw that one. I'm
yeah,
watching all that kind of stuff. I'm not watching any truth or stuff. I'm just watching the cryptids and the whatever, but anything that just is mindless. But I feel like, yeah, they've been burying us and we're getting smaller. Not really smaller, but we're just in overlay after overlay, or I call it screens inside of screens. And that's what that tunnel was made of. It's almost like you go through all the screens that got you buried in, you go through all the virtual universe. They think they're going to just keep burying us where they can keep us here and clueless. But possibly that's maybe why some had to come in and go, okay, let's just blow this game up here, because there's no way you can wake up from this unless you come in still attached to your soul and have access to that and you can share it. I think that's why you and I feel compelled to share what we're getting. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do any more videos. And then all this info comes in and I'm like, okay, I got to share this, because us joining together is key right now. And I don't know if you're noticing that. Are you seeing that more and more people starting to join together?
yeah, and I think it's just pushing it to that next level, which is, I think, this kind of stuff, the the things that we've been talking about, which on the surface seem completely out there and wacky, but truth is stranger than fiction, especially where we are. And I think, I always say, like, there's only one mistake you can make on the path of truth, and that's not going all the way. So I think unless we get to the deep crevices of what's going on, then we're never really gonna. We're still sort of going through things like with one eye closed. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
these ideas need to be explored. Not saying that everyone necessarily has to like them or agree with them, but they definitely need to be spoken about so we can all, as a community, discern together and hopefully draw conclusions from that as to what really is going on here. So yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's easier to get out than we think.
Yeah, I've always.
But the hardest, I think there's multiple ways. The hardest part is that split mind. I think it's the key to everything, because that split mind is what's getting you to react emotionally, and not see what's there. And once they get you into that, if you have emotion about something, you're making this place real. So it's this battle, and they're putting us through all this stuff, right? Oh, money problems, health problems, family problems, friend problems, this, that, the other, accidents, whatever. And just everything going crazy, or people pulling at you 20 different ways. And then we have to try to, okay, wait, I got to stay in the awake mind. But it's almost indiscernible which one you're in. Like, and I've even had a voice out here talk. I was driving the car and I had a thought, and I had a totally opposite thought out here. It was almost like it was in the air next to me. And it was my thought, but I was like, whoa, what just happened? Like, it's the split mind, the dimension, the split. So that's our toughest challenge, I think, is and all the overlays they're putting on our timeline. So we have our path of favor, but they keep throwing detours on it and, sending people our way if they can't access us. So I keep saying everything's working in my favor. I'm intending my path of favor. Nope, I don't want to see that. Nope, you're trying to show me this. This is trying to happen, but nope. And if you can stay in that, it'll shut it down. In fact, if we all join together in visualizing, I put up a visualization a long time ago. I don't even know what I was saying in it. Blah, blah, blah. We want clean air, this, that. And for some reason I said, you know what, let's just visualize the Georgia Guidestones getting bulldozed to the ground. And so Irish Eyes, she's come on my channel a couple of times, but she was like getting people to do this, and Gordana, they were sending people to, go do this visual. And not long after that, somebody, the Georgia Guidestones were history. And I thought, God, did we do that? I think we can. The more we join forces and visualize on something, especially if we get it organized, we can do something about what's unrolling. Because I'm not going to live through all this junk, right? I'm not going to live through out here scraping and, out on the street panhandling. I don't know, because of what they're trying to do in the world, and they're crashing our money. So I think we need to really take charge. That's the whole key. That's true awakening to me, is that you remembered you're in charge. You're the authority, not this place. They're weak. That's why they do everything while you're sleeping or when you're beaten down or whatever, and mind wiping you. It shows that they're extremely weak.
Yeah, they
So
are.
I think it's easier than we think. It's
Yeah.
easier than we think. People are panicking. I'm not going to get out. Just decide right now. I'm going back to myself. I'm leaving. Work on detachment so that you don't have anything holding you here. And, just work on yourself. Don't do the drugs, because that's going to detach you from the soul. But even if you have, there's ways to fix it. Of course, that's like a one-on-one thing, right? How many times can we do that? But I really think, what do you think about that? I really think you can get out even if you're detached.
Yeah, I feel like I've always thought that it's easier than we think to get out. I think what I've been doing in recent weeks is just exploring the landscape and seeing what might be out there. So not even just if we're within the boundaries of this matrix, but when we get out even into the real, just for things to look out for and to be aware of. I mean, I guess at that level, once you're out, your soul already knows a lot of these things. But you mentioned seeing a lot of different white lights. So maybe that was something someone hadn't considered before. Maybe a lot of people thought, well, there's only one white light. But when you said there's multiple white lights, that resonated with me. And I thought, yeah, we got to be on our mettle out there, whatever happens. But yeah, I do feel intention in that dimension is very strong. It's instant. And if you set that strong intention with that sovereign mindset, I'm the authority, I mean, it's not laughable because it's so tragic, but it's when you consider what we really are at our true core, creator beings, like, with all knowledge and just joy, like how we have got ourselves into this mess for so long. When you consider that people are going to that astral world, and this astral traveler said, the people there, they don't need to eat, but they still think that they need to eat. They don't realize that they can manifest food, or they don't realize they're still stuck there as like an 85-year-old that died with cancer. They don't realize that they can change their form and they can be younger again. So even though they're like incredible essence beings, they're still mind controlled, mind wiped, and beaten down probably for so many lifetimes, where they still haven't realized their true power and their true potential. And I think that's what this is about. I think once we get back to that, you call it the real, I call it the self, same kind of thing. Realize that we're the authority. These beings are just the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. They're scared. Look at all the shit that they're doing to us. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, where does that tell you? Who's got the power? Spraying us every day, all the overlays, the attachments, the implants, what they do to us at night, the mind control on the TV. I mean, like that. Who are the scared ones here? So
We're still here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a really good place to leave it. Is there anything else you want to add, Anne Marie? Where can people find you as well?
Um, I'm mainly on Patreon, and putting videos on Odyssey, but, I mean, I'll post this on YouTube. I post on YouTube every once in a while because I had to take everything down off of there, but the content's on Odyssey really. So I was just writing on continual strikes anyway.
No, I know you don't. I know
Um,
you're like me. You really would rather be doing something else and just taking a back seat and writing. I often feel like that, but it's really great that you've come on today, and I'm sure people will have a lot of questions, and we don't always have to agree with everything, and some people will, some people won't. But anyway, yeah, I'll post your links in the description so people can find you. But yeah, thanks again for coming on and sharing your information.
yeah, thanks for having me. I'll post your links as well. And thank you for getting out there and blowing the whistle on the new age and everything else you're doing. So it's important. Everything, we're all in this together. We're all working together on our specific thing. So I guess I just leave it as everything's working in our favor. Us, the souls, our favor.
Yes, exactly.
So,
All right, thanks a lot.
all right. Thanks, Tony.